Well, the petition Don't Divide Us NZ, which has 87,269 signatures, was finally tabled in Parliament this week. And the delay wasn't our fault, it was due to the summer recess. Now, the petition, which was launched at the beginning of November last year, says this: we oppose the no jab, no job policy, which will create a divided New Zealand. We call on the government to allow the use of COVID rapid antigen testing as an alternative for unvaccinated kiwis to access workplaces, schools, marae, large gatherings, and places of worship.
Petitions have been delivered to the clerk for presentation.
Petition of Bob McCoskrie requesting that the House allow the use of COVID-19 rapid antigen tests as an alternative way for unvaccinated people to access venues. Petition.
And in fact, of course, it wasn't just my name, it was 87,000 plus other names as well. Now, when we first launched this petition 3 months ago, the government had succeeded in keeping the viable option of rapid antigen testing very quiet, partly because they'd all but banned its use under the COVID-19 Public Health Response Order 2021, and despite its increasing and effective use overseas. But nationwide polling found significant support from New Zealanders for regular testing to be allowed as an option, so that Kiwis could keep their jobs. Just 27% were opposed, including 30% of those who were already vaccinated. You know, we were justifiably concerned that New Zealanders were being excluded from their teaching or nursing jobs, sporting career, going to their marae, going to the church or mosque or the gym or hair salon, university to study, weddings, visiting family members in prison, attending events, and there are many other examples because they have chosen out of good conscience not to be vaccinated. So we're looking for a reasonable and workable middle ground that doesn't divide the country and set family members against each other. And as we now observe, the government has finally come around to acknowledge what we've been saying and you've been saying for the past couple of months. And it's the reason many vaccinated people also signed the petition, that rapid antigen testing is an important tool in the fight against COVID. You know, this is certainly not an anti-vax petition, as some will lazily attempt to label it. Many signatories to this petition have in fact been vaccinated, but they've likely signed it for two reasons. Firstly, they respect the conscience of those who don't want the vaccination. But also with what we now know about the Omicron strain evading both immunities and also infection, transmission, and the importance of testing, and the likely impact on workplaces throughout New Zealand, employers are now crying out for workers and for rapid antigen tests for both unvaccinated and vaccinated. It's important to note we support the use of vaccinations in principle, but we're anti-mandate because they discriminate against people because of their personal health decisions made in good conscience. Now, the US Supreme Court recently blocked President Joe Biden's rule requiring workers at large companies to be vaccinated or masked and tested weekly. Note that the US mandate was already less stringent than ours. The New Zealand government only allows for double vaccination and doesn't have the weekly testing option. And yet the more flexible US version still got struck down. And the majority decision, 6-3, said it is instead a significant encroachment into the lives and health of a vast number of employees. Although COVID-19 is a risk that occurs in many workplaces, it is not an occupational hazard in most. COVID-19 can and does spread at home, in schools, during sporting events, and everywhere else that people gather. That kind of universal risk is no different from the day-to-day dangers that all face from crime, air pollution, or any other number of communicable diseases. Now, just on a side note, as well as this petition, in December, a large group of 15 applicants representing 110 church congregations and 2 mosques, over 26,000 congregants, filed in the Wellington High Court an application for a judicial review on the church vaccine mandate, which is significantly impacting churches and even forcing some churches to have to ban unvaccinated people from certain gatherings. These churches are asking the government to reconsider the vaccination mandate and for a less restrictive, more proportionate policy. You know, during the lockdowns, churches were happy to comply because it was important to keep everyone safe when COVID first arrived. But however, now that rapid testing is available, and it's available for domestic travel and now some overseas travellers, now that schools can open when adopting safety measures and rapid testing is available for certain workplaces, churches believe the same options should be available to them, and the case will be heard in a fortnight. Let's get the country working together again in a unified way as we battle the challenges of COVID-19 and Omicron.